Well, flares illuminated the night sky over the Gaza Strip on Tuesday night into Wednesday as Israel continued its war against Hamas. A month into the war, Israel's military has said it's fighting the depths of Gaza City after encircling the northern part of the besieged Palestinian enclave. The war is the deadliest of the 5 Gaza wars for both sides. Now, Israel has said that its forces were operating in the heart of the Gaza City 1 month after Hamas's bloody October 7th attacks as the campaign to crush the Palestinian militants intensifies. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu issued a stark warning to Hezbollah in Lebanon, which, like Hamas, is backed by Iran. Netanyahu also said there would be no fuel delivered to Gaza and no ceasefire unless more than 240 hostages seized by the Palestinian militants are freed.
תקפנו מטרות רבות של חיזבאללה, חיסלנו מחבלים רבים. ואני שב ואומר, אם חיזבאללה יבחר להיכנס למלחמה, הוא יעשה את טעות חייו.
Israel fell silent briefly on Tuesday, marking 1 month since the deadly Hamas attacks plunged it into war. And of course, tears pierced memorial ceremonies and crowds lit candles while mourning the 1,400 dead. The victims include families of those killed in kibbutz and young people killed at the music festival in the nation's worst attack since 1948. The Israeli military says that they have found over 750 rocket-propelled grenades and more than 400 explosive belts after the October 7th Hamas attack. The Israeli Defense Forces also released a video that they said showed strikes on Hamas targets near hospitals. The hunt is on for Hamas militants in tunnels as well. Israel is organizing showings for the media around the world of a film depicting Hamas's massacre, assembling raw footage sourced from victims and perpetrators alike. The harrowing 44-minute montage has already been shown at the UN in New York and in Geneva, in Washington, Berlin, Brussels, Madrid, and in the Chilean capital, Santiago. Israel's efforts to circulate the film come amid growing criticism from the rights groups and even unease among Western allies over the scale of its bombing campaign in Gaza. Washington has said it is opposed to a new long-term occupation of Gaza by Israel. Israel withdrew from the territory which it captured in the 1967 Six-Day War in 2005. Israel has airdropped leaflets and sent texts ordering civilians in northern Gaza to flee south. However, on Saturday, a U.S. official stated at least 350,000 civilians remained in the worst-hit areas. The suffering in Gaza has been immense. The entire city blocks have been leveled, and bodies in white shrouds are piling up outside hospitals where surgeons are operating on bloodied floors by the light of phones. The World Health Organization has said an average of 160 children have been killed every day in Gaza by the war. The International Committee of the Red Cross has demanded an end to the horrific suffering of civilians, especially children, decrying a moral failing. Military analysts are warning of weeks of grueling house-to-house fighting ahead in Gaza as well. They say Hamas has had 15 years to prepare for the dense defense in depth that integrates subterranean, ground level and above-ground fortifications. The operation is hugely complicated for Israel. Hostages, including very young children and frail elderly people, are believed to be held inside a tunnel network spanning hundreds of kilometers. Israel's authorities have named over 300 soldiers and at least 50 policemen who have been killed in Gaza. Quoting the heads of the Hamas's political bureau in Beirut, the Times stated that there are several ideas being discussed over possible agreement concerning hostages. The ideas include ceasefires of 5 days or of 7 days, fuel to the south, and the issue of what happens in North Gaza. Now, Tuesday was the 5th day of Gaza's Soul crossing not controlled by Israel, which has opened in the past week to wounded Palestinians, foreigners and Palestinian dual nationals. At least 96 trucks carrying aid have been transferred to Gaza via the Rafah crossing. And Netanyahu told ABC News on Monday the war would continue until Israel had restored overall control of Gaza. The U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken, after a West Asia tour of the crisis diplomacy, was in Tokyo on Tuesday for a meeting of G7 foreign ministers set to seek a common line on Gaza. In the occupied West Bank on Sunday, he suggested the Palestinian Authority under President Mahmoud Abbas should retake control. Our correspondent Jody Cohen has sent us this report.
Further rockets have been fired into Israel on Wednesday. Hezbollah, Hamas and Islamic Jihad have all claimed attacks and infiltration attempts from Lebanon into Israel. And Israel says it has been striking terror targets in response. In Gaza, the IDF says it has captured 4,000 weapons, including rockets, which were hidden in civilian infrastructure. President Biden has asked Prime Minister Netanyahu for humanitarian pauses, and the two leaders are reportedly holding continued discussions on that subject. Netanyahu has indicated that there have been and could be further hour-long pauses to enable aid to enter Gaza or hostages to leave who are being held in Gaza. Now, Hamas's 7th of October attack against Israel has also brought huge suffering to the Gazan people. Israel says it can't allow fuel to enter as it would be taken by Hamas. And Hamas, it says, has stockpiled 500,000 litres of fuel under the Al-Shifa hospital, which Israel says is Hamas's central base. Meanwhile, the IDF has secured the road from north to south Gaza, where it is safer. And on Tuesday, the UN reported a steep increase in the number of Gazans evacuating to the south. This is Jody Cohen for WION World is One.